Hey everyone! Making games is fun, but it's also full of challenges. Some mistakes can waste months of development time. In this video, I'll share some game dev tips that I wish I knew earlier. These will help you create better games, optimize your workflow, and avoid common pitfalls. Whether you are an indie developer or working in a studio, these tips will save you time and effort. Let's get started. Story turns good games into legends. A great story can elevate a good game into a legendary one. The story is the soul of your game, giving players something to connect to beyond the gameplay. It adds depth, emotion, and meaning, making the experience more memorable. A well-crafted narrative can immerse players in the world you've built and keep them invested long after they've finished playing. In games like The Last of Us or The Witcher 3, the compelling characters and rich storytelling are what turn them into unforgettable experiences. The gameplay is important, but it's the story that truly captivates players and keeps them talking about the game long after they've finished. The player is always right. If players are bored, frustrated, or confused, it's a sign that something in your game's design isn't working. The player experience is everything, and if they're not enjoying the game, it's up to you as the developer to fix it. Listen to their feedback. It often points directly to the real problems in your game, whether it's confusing controls, unclear objectives, or poorly designed mechanics. By paying attention to player reactions, you can make targeted improvements and create a more enjoyable experience for everyone. For example, if players repeatedly complain that a level is too hard or unclear, don't ignore it. Adjust the difficulty or improve the tutorials to help guide players through the challenge without frustration. Reward curiosity in your game. Encourage players to explore by rewarding their curiosity. If they wander off the beaten path, make it worth their time with hidden treasures, lore, or rare items. Exploration should feel exciting and rewarding, not like a waste of time. By adding these rewards, you not only make the world feel more immersive but also give players a reason to explore every corner. For example, in an open-world game, hide valuable items or story fragments in secret locations. This gives players an extra incentive to venture beyond the main quest, keeping them engaged and rewarding their curiosity. Be consistent. Consistency is key to creating a comfortable and intuitive experience for players. When elements like buttons, menus, or controls stay in the same place throughout the game, players don't have to think twice about where to find them. Patterns and familiar layouts help reduce frustration and make the game easier to navigate. Stick to the rules you set in the game's design to avoid confusion and maintain a smooth flow. In a platformer, always keep the jump button in the same location on the controller or screen. If the layout changes unexpectedly, it can throw players off and disrupt their experience. Keep learning and having fun. Game development is a never-ending learning process. No matter how much experience you gain, there's always something new to explore, whether it's a new tool, a design concept, or a different approach to problem solving. Stay curious and embrace learning as part of the journey. And most importantly, keep having fun. The excitement of discovering new things and improving your skills is what makes game development so rewarding. For example, if you're learning a new programming language or mastering a game engine feature, enjoy the process of mastering something new. The more you learn, the better your games will become. Skipping market research. One of the biggest mistakes you can make is skipping market research. Before diving into development, take the time to study your genre, competitors, and what players expect from similar games. Understanding what's already out there can help you identify what works, what doesn't, and where you can stand out. It's not just about knowing the competition, but also about understanding what players want and what's trending in the market. If you're making a survival game, research other successful survival games to see what features players love. Are there common elements? What are players saying in reviews? Use this info to refine your own game and give it a unique twist. Not testing enough platforms. It's crucial to test your game on every platform you plan to release it on. Don't assume that your game will run the same way on all systems. Each platform has unique performance characteristics, input methods, and limitations. Rigorous quality assurance testing ensures that your game delivers a smooth experience no matter where players are playing. For example, if you're releasing on both PC and consoles, test for differences in controls, graphics, and performance. A game that works great on a high-end PC might struggle on a console or mobile device, so thorough testing on each platform helps catch any issues before launch. Locking into a theme too soon. Avoid committing to a single theme too early in the development process. It's easy to get excited about one concept, but it's important to test multiple themes first to see what resonates best with players. You can experiment with different ideas, art styles, and concepts through simple prototypes or ads before investing heavily in one direction. This gives you the flexibility to adjust your game's theme based on early feedback and market trends. For example, if you are unsure whether a medieval or sci-fi theme would work best for your game, try running some ads showcasing both themes. See which one gets more attention or positive feedback before committing to the full development. Working without a clear plan. Developing a game without a clear plan can lead to confusion, wasted time, and missed opportunities. It's crucial to define a vision for your game early on, what you want to achieve, the experience you want to create, and the steps needed to get there. Having a roadmap with flexible goals allows you to track progress and stay focused, but also gives you room to adapt as challenges or new ideas arise. For example, start by outlining the key features, timeline, and milestones for your game. This will help you stay on track and ensure you are making steady progress toward your final vision, even if things change along the way. Nail the tutorial. Make sure your game's tutorial is simple and easy to follow for first-time players. The first impression matters, so focus on introducing basic mechanics gradually, without overwhelming them with too much information at once. Guide players step by step, showing them how to interact with the game, but keep it short and engaging. A confusing or long tutorial can turn new players off before they even get to the fun part. Example, in a platformer, start by teaching the player how to jump and move, then slowly introduce new mechanics, like double jumping or attacking, as they progress. Share your work publicly. Don't keep your project hidden, share it with others as you go. Posting updates, demos, or even sneak peeks on social media or platforms like YouTube or itch.io can help build an audience early on. Not only does this increase your visibility, but it also gives you valuable feedback that can help improve your game. The sooner you start building a community, the better your chances of success when the game is ready for launch. For example, if you're working on a new game, post development updates, screenshots, or short gameplay clips on Twitter or Reddit. This can create buzz and attract potential players before your game is even finished. No one knows the secret sauce. There's no formula for success in game development. Even the biggest companies can't guarantee what will work. Every game is a risk, and the process is filled with trial and error. Sometimes, things won't go as planned, and that's okay. What works for one game may not work for another. The key is to stay flexible, keep learning, and adjust based on feedback and results. Embrace the uncertainty and use it as a chance to experiment and improve. For example, you may have a unique game mechanic you are excited about, but players may not react as expected. Instead of being discouraged, take that feedback, adjust your approach, and try again. Give players reasons to come back. To keep players engaged, offer them reasons to return to your game. This could be through multiple endings, unlockable content, or alternative paths. When players feel like their choices matter or that there's more to explore, they're more likely to dive back into your game to see what else it has to offer. For example, in an RPG, offer different story outcomes based on the player's decisions. This encourages players to replay the game to discover all the possible endings and experience different scenarios. Localization is more than translation. Localization goes beyond simply translating text. It's about adapting your game to resonate with different cultures and regions. This includes adjusting language, visual elements, humor, and even gameplay mechanics to make sure your game feels natural and appealing to players worldwide. By localizing properly, you ensure your game can be enjoyed by a global audience, increasing its chances for success in multiple markets. For example, if your game includes cultural references or jokes, make sure they're relevant and appropriate for the target region. What's funny in one country may not translate well to another, so adjust accordingly to avoid misunderstandings. The ultimate goal of a game is to have fun. At the end of the day, games are meant to be enjoyable. Whether it's the thrill of a challenging level, the satisfaction of a completed quest, or simply the joy of exploring a new world, fun is what keeps players coming back. Never lose sight of this core principle. If your game isn't fun, players won't stick around, no matter how impressive the graphics or mechanics are. For example, even in serious or narrative-driven games, the experience should still be enjoyable. A gripping story or intense challenge can be fun, but the key is to keep players engaged and excited about what comes next. Keep playing games for fun, remember why you started. No matter how tough the development process gets, always remember why you started making games in the first place, for the love of it. Game development can be challenging, but at its heart, it's about creating fun experiences. If you lose sight of that, it's easy to burn out. Keep your passion alive, and make sure you're having fun while creating your game, just like you did when you first fell in love with playing them. For example, if you're feeling stuck, take a break and play a game you love. Reconnecting with the joy of playing can remind you of why you are making your own games and spark new ideas. Document everything. Create design documents early to keep track of your ideas and plans. This prevents scope creep. For example, write down character abilities, story arcs, and game mechanics so everyone is on the same page. Learn about the audience. Research your target audience's preferences and adjust your design accordingly. For example, if your game is aimed at younger players, opt for a colorful, non-violent design over darker themes. Fail fast and iterate. If something isn't working, don't waste time trying to fix it. Move on quickly and try new ideas. For example, if a combat system isn't fun, scrap it and design something new that fits better with your game's flow. Don't fear bugs, debugging is a skill. Learning to debug is an essential skill. Embrace bugs and see them as challenges to improve your coding skills. For example, when a bug appears, break down the problem and solve it step by step. Debugging will make you a better developer in the long run. Use version control. Implement version control from the start. GitHub and GitLab are free and essential for collaboration. For example, if something breaks in your game, you can roll back to a previous working version with ease. Understand monetization models. Have a clear idea of how you plan to make money early on, whether that's ads, in-app purchases, or a premium pricing model. For example, if you're making a mobile game, decide whether you want to include ads, offer in-game purchases, or go for a one-time paid download model. Use playable ads for marketing. If you're developing a mobile game, test out playable ads to give potential players a hands-on experience before they download. For example, allow players to try the first few levels of your game in the ad, increasing the likelihood they'll install it. Balance difficulty progression. Create a smooth difficulty curve. Gradually increase the challenge to keep players engaged. For example, start with simple puzzles and introduce new mechanics as the player progresses to avoid overwhelming them early on. Keep loading times short. Minimize loading times as much as possible, especially for mobile and web games. For example, implement loading screens with tips or minigames to keep the player entertained while assets load in the background. Understand the importance of game feel. The feeling a player gets when interacting with the game can make or break the experience. Polish every interaction to feel satisfying. For example, ensure actions like jumping, shooting, or even collecting an item feel smooth, with satisfying animations, sound, and feedback. Don't overestimate time. Underpromise and overdeliver. Game development often takes longer than expected, so plan accordingly. For example, if you think a feature will take 1 week, give yourself 2. Unexpected issues always arise during development. Expect and embrace failure. You will encounter failure at some point. It's part of the learning process, so embrace it and learn from it. For example, maybe your first project gets cancelled. Use the lessons learned to make your next game even better. Plan for post-launch support. Launch is just the beginning. Plan for future updates, bug fixes, and additional content early on. For example, release new levels, characters, or challenges to keep players engaged after the initial launch period. We have covered game development tips to help game studio and indie game developers. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, feel free to buy me a coffee at the link in description. Also comment which tip is useful for you. It helps keep the content coming and allows me to improve and create even more awesome tutorials for you. Hit the like button and subscribe for more game development tips. See you in the next video.